sister, my cousin's sister, she has just 3-4 months back, she lost her husband all of a sudden, and she's just 6 months younger to me and very close to my heart. And yesterday I was with her for the full day, and her mother is all, like mother-in-law also there, like Jiaji's mother, and she's 75 years old. And I was acting very okay, I don't know. I think so the ego comes or hits us or something like that. And I was thinking, I'll go over there, I'll meet her, and maybe I will just talk to her or something. But I was speechless. I just couldn't talk to her. And and I we say, like, we have studied in Bhagavad Gita. Just try to stay in all the Krishna says. Try to stay in all the situations calm, poised, everything. It should not. But I don't know. It's not happening. Could you just explain? You feel. I know the knowledge is there, but it doesn't happen. Why it doesn't happen?
You see, the thing is that Arjuna, after he heard the entire Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna also started fighting. He said to Krishna, Karishye vachanam tava, Krishna, I will do what you have told me to do. I am convinced. I am completely convinced of what you said, Krishna. And I will do what you have told me to do. Krishna was told this by Arjuna at the end of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was completely convinced. And then he started fighting. And then the most unfortunate event of Abhimanyu, he was just 18-year-old boy. 18 or 16. I think maybe 16-year-old. Yeah, he was 16-year-old boy. Just a 16-year-old boy. He was killed. Ghastly way. All the, big Maharathis, they surrounded Abhimanyu. And, a lone kid, one child. And that too without any weapons or anything. And they unjustifiedly, they just all attacked him together. They killed him. Which was totally against dharma. The dharma of the battle, it was totally against everything, all the principles. They defied everything. And the Kauravas killed him so unjustifiably. And then when Arjuna returned to the camp that night, Abhimanyu's body was there. And Arjuna was devastated. He was crying hysterically. He was crying. And he was in so much pain. His heart was crying. His heart was bleeding, in fact. He was crying. Uncontrollably, he was crying. So does that mean that Arjuna is not a perfect disciple of the Bhagavad Gita? He heard Bhagavad Gita from Krishna just 2-3 days ago. And he's crying. He should remember Vasamsi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya. Navani Grinati Naro Parani. Tatha Sharirani Vihaya Jirnani. Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. He should have remembered that, oh, this is not my child. The soul has now moved on to another body. So he should have remembered that. Why did he Arjuna cry? But then Srila Prabhupada describes, so beautifully Srila Prabhupada describes this. He says that Arjuna is a perfect disciple of the Bhagavad Gita. Because although there was such a setback in his life, but Arjuna did not question Krishna. That Krishna, I am listening to you. I am following your instructions. Then why did you do this to me? Why? How can you take my son away? So unjustifiably? So much in an adharma way? How can you take my son away? Arjuna did not question Krishna. He did not have any doubt that, he did not come and say to Krishna that, Krishna, why? Why are you doing this to me? I am following what you told me to do, and look what happened to me. Why should I have to do this? Why am I doing this? Arjuna never had that kind of a, attitude towards Krishna. Rather, he even resolved even more firmly to fight the next day, to carry out the instructions of Krishna. And he made the promise that tomorrow, before sundown, I'm going to behead Jayadratha. I'm going to kill him. So, Prabhupada explains that Arjuna, his discharge of his duty was not apprehended by this unfortunate incident that happened in his life. And that is what makes Arjuna the perfect disciple of the Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada explains that a devotee doesn't mean that they're going to be heartless, that they're going to be emotionless. One time there was, Srila Prabhupada was visiting one particular city, and he was leaving that particular city and going to another city, and devotees were crying, disciples were crying, Prabhupada's leaving from there. And then there was one devotee, he was like, oh, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. And Prabhupada just looked at him and he commented that that's a very superficial devotee, that when the spiritual master is leaving, there has to be some kind of separation. Otherwise, it's very superficial. So, but that's, when we are, undergoing that kind of an attitude also, but that doesn't stop us from surrendering to Krishna. That doesn't stop us from continuing our service to Krishna. Rather, during difficult times, our service to Krishna, our dependence upon Krishna increases multifold. That is the test. That we don't question Krishna, that Krishna, how could you do this to us? Why did you do this to us, Krishna? We never question that. But rather we tell Krishna that, Krishna, okay, you have put us in this condition, so this is your mercy, Krishna, and that you are giving us an opportunity to surrender more to you. It was because of this situation that happened with our spiritual master and, our God brothers, that it gave us a chance to chant more, to take shelter of Krishna more. That's how we must be grateful to Krishna. So, not having any kind of emotions, not having any kind of feelings, that's not the goal of a devotee. That's not what describes us as a devotee.
In fact, a devotee's heart, when we chant, it becomes much, much more softer. So they become more sensitive to these emotions, and they become more sensitive to others' sufferings, and that affects them. And of course, when they suffer, for their own suffering, they depend on Krishna. But when others suffer, they become very emotional. That's what Srila Prabhupada would think as well. Paradukha dukhi. But the test of a devotee is not whether he cries or he laughs or he's happy in good things or not, and thinks he's crying or not. The test of a devotee is, does he increase his dependence on Krishna? Does he continue his service? Does he continue chanting? In our context, do we improve the quality of our chanting as a result of this? Or have we given up chanting, thinking, oh, this person died, so I have lost my faith in God, or I've lost my faith in Krishna? Or are we saying, no, I should take more shelter of Krishna because this is the nature of the material world? So how we react decides, how we react in taking Krishna's shelter or not. That decides whether we are devotee, not whether we are crying or laughing or overcome by emotions.